welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner. We're here at the Tivoli Tap House where you can get food and great beer too. I'm joined alongside my boy Coltin Lash. Coltin, how you doing?
Hector, good to see you, man. We're glad to be here for another show today. I'm excited to see what we have in store.
Great. So, who are we having today?
So today, we're going to have one of the men's soccer players joining us. We'll give it a little bit to find out who's coming to join us from the men's soccer team. The volleyball team hosted one of the most prestigious tournaments in the whole Division II nation. So we'll bring on head coach Jenny Glenn to tell us how that went for her squad. And like I mentioned, a men's soccer player will be joining us. Head coach Hank Lewis will join us, and his team will get after competing this weekend, and they'll give us a little bit of what's been going down.
Hey, I'm excited for the show today, but before we get started, let's get you started with some Roadrunner news. So, as we mentioned, the volleyball squad competed in the Colorado Premier Challenge this past weekend. They took on 9th-ranked Tarleton State, and this one would go 5 sets. Sophomore Eveline Live pounded out 11 kills, hitting a team-high .364. This match went to the match. It went to the very end, but the Texans snuck out the 3-2 win. However, the Roadrunners would go on to defeat the #1 team in the nation in Tampa University at the finale by a 3-1 score. We'll be excited to talk to Coach Glenn about that.
Also, after a road trip to Texas 2 weeks ago, Coach Lewis had his men's soccer team back in Denver for a pair of games. They first took on Regis at home, and sophomore sensation Jamie Gutierrez beats the Keep in overtime to defeat the Rangers 1-0. On Sunday, the squad then took on Chaminade to finish up the non-conference play. MSU Denver would fall behind 3-0, but got back-to-back goals from Benjamin Brill and Gutierrez to make it a game, but would end up finishing that game 3-2 at home.
Our women's soccer team hit the road to the West Coast to compete against a couple of California teams. After a 2 loss against St. Edwards, they took on Poly Pomena on Sunday, but fell 1-0 on overtime. The goal came in the 100th minute, and Erica Torres came in clutch with 5 saves.
The tennis teams came out firing this past weekend, going a combined 7-0 in their matches on the road. In 4 matches, the women's squad dropped only 2 sets and defeated Newman from Kansas 7-0 in their final game of the weekend. The men went 3-0, which included a 5-0 beatdown of Texas Permian Basin.
The cross-country squad was once again led by Eldon Griodel, who broke the tape at the Colorado College Invitational in Colorado Springs. The junior crossing the lane in time on the time of 22 minutes and 46 seconds, which was 12 seconds faster than the second-place finisher. The squad as a whole would finish 2nd overall. The men's team placed 3rd among the 8 teams field. Jacob Link led the man with his 6th-place finish.
And finally, let's check in on our women's golf team who competed at the Sam Prohl Invite in Pueblo last week. The Roadrunners had a sensational second day where the squad started the day in 10th, but then shot up 3 shots to finish 6th overall. The big jump was due in part to Sydney I's 78 second day score. Both Sydney and Jennifer Hankins would finish with identical 15-over scores to finish in a tie for 20th place. So a lot of Roadrunners news this week, huh, Hector?
A lot, a ton. But now we're happy to bring on head coach from our volleyball team, Jenny Glenn. Coach, thank you for being here today.
Yep.
Thanks for being here, Coach.
Absolutely.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So your squad just played 4 games in 2 days and did so against some top-notch competition. We'll talk about those games later. But tell us if it's difficult to play 4 games in just 2 days and how that goes about.
Yeah, it is difficult. That's a lot of volleyball in a short amount of time, especially at the Colorado Premier, when you know every match is going to be a battle, and our matches went 5 sets, 4 sets, 5 sets, 4 sets. So we played 18 sets of volleyball in a really short time frame, just over 24 hours, not even 2 full days. So yeah, it definitely takes the toll when you're playing that much volleyball.
I bet that's exhausting.
It is.
Yeah.
For me mentally as much as them physically.
Oh, yeah.
So we know you've been practicing in all all kinds of different venues since Auraria Event Center has been getting all those upgrades right down the street.
Yeah.
How good did it feel to play in the gym?
Oh, it was great. You know, we had our first practice on our home floor on Wednesday, so 2 days prior to the tournament, and it was just awesome to be back in our gym. Just little things like the Roadrunner logo on the floor and a higher ceiling and those kind of things. So we're kicked back out a little bit right now, but it was great to be in our home gym for a couple days.
Yeah, definitely some Roadrunner spirit to get back into it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So let's get into some volleyball. You first took on ninth-ranked Tarleton State in the opener, and you played them so tough. In fact, you had some significant leads in a couple of those sets, but just couldn't finish them off. Is that downfall having such a young team who just haven't had that much experience yet?
Hector, I haven't slept since that match, and now I'm not going to sleep again tonight. Yeah, I still can't get over 14-11 in the fifth, but you know, our team played well this weekend. We battled. We are inexperienced in some positions and young, but we talk a lot about that there are no excuses. You know, the score at the end of the day and the win and the loss next to our name doesn't really know any of those things, how young we are and experienced. So I thought by the end of the tournament we weren't playing that young and inexperienced, but I think there were some things in that first Tarleton match where when it got to the end and it got clutch time, they just had a little bit more confidence than we did in end game. And so, you know, I fully expect us to grow and the next time we get those opportunities to have a different outcome.
That's good.
So what does it take to finish a set? Experience is one thing, but like what kind of mindset do the players need to not let the opponent get back into it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, you know, I've watched that match back a little bit already, and we had opportunities to win it, you know, and when it gets to that level, it comes down to inches and, you know, just sealing a block or just turning your wrist a little bit offensively or finishing a pass. And I think we finished that game. And quite honestly, the Texans played really scrappy defense at the very end there, and they were aggressive. So it takes that to win. We can't be tipping balls after 20 or in the fifth set after 10, tipping balls at all in the fifth set, and just being aggressive. That's how you win volleyball matches when it gets tight.
Right.
Yeah. So give us your thoughts on your match against Southwest Minnesota State. So this is a big team. What are your takeaways from a team that could potentially compete for a national championship this December?
Yeah, I think anyone that was across the net from us this weekend could potentially compete for a national championship, including ourselves. But, you know, they're a very disciplined team. They're really hard to score on. They had a huge block, so it was really good for our athletes to learn how to score against a big block, and I thought we did a good job with that. And then we got blocks back at them. So, you know, that first set I thought we came out a little flat after turning really quick turnaround from our Tarleton match. And finally we caught up to the pace of a different style of play and the pace of the second match. And we really went toe-to-toe with them in the rest of the final 3 sets. So I was pleased that we were able to step up to the challenge, and the team stayed composed and calm and confident throughout the course of the weekend.
That's good.
So you started off day 2 with a 5-set battle with Barry and would rebound to defeat #1 ranked Tampa in the afternoon. What did your team do so well to take down the defending national champs?
You know, I think that we played a little bit more aggressive as the tournament wore on, and you saw that in the Tampa match. We were trying to force our middles a little bit more. We passed really well. We served and passed well in that match, and I think that was a difference maker. Their coach even came up to me afterwards and said the same. So I think that serve and pass game, you know, that they were kind of changing their lineup around in different things, and we were able to capitalize on that. And you know, every match right now is like 5 practices for us.
Right.
And with us being kind of young and inexperienced in some positions, we're just going to keep getting better at a fast rate. So, you know, we're improving every match, even within the tournament, not just in practice.
Did beating the #1 ranked team in Tampa help boost the team's confidence and morale overall?
I think just the weekend as a whole let this group kind of realize, like, you know, we're in the mix and it's not that far off. We have a lot to work on. We have a long ways to go, but I think we proved that we could compete at a really high level. And so that, you know, even in practice today, I could kind of see that kick in their step and you know, ready to get better and realizing that we have a big future if we work hard at it.
Awesome.
Awesome, yeah. So sophomore Eveline may have been your best player in the tournament. She had double-digit kills total for all 4 games. Talk a little bit about her and what do you expect for the rest of 2019?
Yeah, I mean, Ava's an excellent player. She's really high attacker, and so the angle she attacks the ball at is very different and hard to defend. She's actually a middle. We've been using her on the right. We did that a little last year, and matchup-wise, it's just best for us right now. But yeah, I fully expect her to just keep getting better and better, and she's really hard to defend, and she's a huge block. So that's what we like to see in our right sides.
That's good.
So what's next for the volleyball team, and what are some things that you guys will be fine-tuning this week?
Yes, what's next is they're finishing up practice as we speak. What's next is Fort Lewis. You know, we are very singularly focused, so it's one thing at a time with this group. We're taking it day by day. We have a whole list of things coming out of the Premier that we need to get better at, and we'll continue to work on to elevate our game. And then we got conference play opening up on our home floor on Friday, so we're looking forward to taking it one match at a time, and all eyes are fixed on Fort Lewis right now.
Sounds good.
Coach, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for your time, and we wish you the best on upcoming games. It's the time of the show for the tweet of the week. That's what I was trying to say. So it comes from the athletic department account last Saturday, where mascot Rody is toasting his wine glass to all our teams competing that day. It includes big days from volleyball, cross country, and tennis. Make sure to follow the Roadrunners on Twitter at MSU Denver Sports. Time for a break, but we're coming right back with men's soccer coach Hank Lewis up next in the Coach Corner.
In the heart of the city, Metropolitan State University of Denver is holding the line on the American dream. Our students come from every background and experience. They are tenacious, purposeful, entrepreneurial. They choose the highest quality and best value in Colorado higher education, and they choose their own roads for more than 70 undergrad and graduate degrees. Relevant, hands-on, and affordable education. Discover your road to success at msudenver.edu.
Let's go!
Watch out and in! The Roadrunners have responded. Kendall McIntosh throwing it down.
Welcome back, and before we talk with Coach Lewis, we want to remind you about the cool event coming up right here at the Tivoli Tap House. They're hosting their Welcome to the Wild West party on September 30th. It will take place in the Tap House and will go from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. and it's open to the public. They will have live music and have specialty beers. It will be a great way to start off the Great American Beer Festival taking place that weekend. Check out TivoliBrewingCo.com for more information. So now we welcome Coach Hank Lewis. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
That's great.
See you again, Coach.
Good to see you guys.
Good. Good to see you too. So we know you played a couple games this past week, but we want to ask you about how your first week went as a head coach for our men's soccer team.
Okay. Well, our first week was down in Texas. So we opened up the season playing St. Mary's and St. Edward's, 2 regional powers. So playing in down in the heat of Texas. We lost the first game against St. Mary's, very good St. Mary's team, and we beat St. Edward's. Danny Batista had 2 goals and ended up earning RMAC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week, so that was kind of nice. And I think it was a good result for us the first week because we were playing against teams that are used to that heat. We weren't, but we outran them. We played pretty well. So I think we built each game, each half, and then came back this week and started our kind of Denver slate. We started with an overtime win against Regis on Friday with Jaime Gutierrez scoring about, not even a minute into the first overtime period, which was a nice way to go because we needed that rest. And then, unfortunately, our home opener, we lost 3-2 against Chaminade from Hawaii. But the one thing I would say about it is that we went down 3-0 and our guys came back and pushed it to the end. It was a 3-2 loss. So our guys were very resilient and give them a lot of credit for trying to fight back.
I bet it's, being down 3-0 in a soccer game, that's really hard to come back. I'm pretty sure you're very proud of them to just looking forward to not giving up and just trying to get that next goal.
I think so. I mean, we're talking a lot this year about the craft of fighting, not just like fighting as in being belligerent, but, if it was a boxing match, that was like getting knocked down to the mat 3 times. And there are a lot of teams who would fold and just decide, hey, I can't do it. Chaminade beat Colorado Christian, and I'm not saying they folded, but I think they took those 3 goals that they had put on them early on, and it was hard for them to respond. And I think our guys responded well and tried to fight back, and were fighting back to the very end. So that's a great credit to them. I think we've got to learn a few more things about getting that resilience and that drive earlier in the game, and especially because we're in front of the home fans, we wanted a better showing. So there's some pluses and minuses to the game.
Of course. So, Coach, as you mentioned, you got that first road win in Austin this week. How did that feel? Was it a sigh of relief, good feeling, bad?
Well, winning on that Sunday away, it was kind of a double win because obviously it's great to get a home win in Texas. Obviously get an away win in Texas, but it's a new program. It's guys getting used to a whole new staff, and you lose that game, you're starting off with 2 losses, as well as guys may wonder, well, why did we have those 3 days during preseason? Why did we work so hard? And even though there's not a direct correlation, when you can start to see some success from things you're building, that always makes it better for everybody. And again, just proud of the guys for being super resilient and super connected with each other. And then to transfer that over to this next week, we doubled our corners, we doubled our shots on goal. So we're each week getting a little better, and now we're just trying to work on how we make those controllables a little stronger for us.
Right.
So after that road trip to Texas, you were back home in Denver this past weekend. You first took on fellow Armac school Regis at their field. So how did your squad play against them? How did you feel about it?
Well, again, it was a pretty back and forth affair. It went to overtime. I think we withstood their runs really well. They came at us quite hard in many stretches of the game. They have a couple of Division I transfers on the team, but I thought once we settled in and played our game, we did quite well. They had a really big surge at the end of the game running at us, but we withstood it. Sandy Gentile, our goalie, was fantastic in that game. I think if he doesn't have the game he has, making 5-6 saves, that's easily a 3-0 loss. So for him to give our team confidence by staying big, that was awesome. And then, like I said, the first minute of overtime, we have a goal by Jaime Gutierrez, and that allows us to rest a bit for Sunday's game.
Coach, so as you mentioned, how much did goalkeeper Sandy Gentile's performance play in this match?
In the Friday match?
Yeah.
Huge. I think if he doesn't make those saves, I think Regis gets, they cut us, they get a little blood in the water, and they keep coming after us. He was big in every aspect of the game, great distributions, great point-blank saves, great command of his box, great command of our backs. So he really is showing why he's a senior, and he's really grown into the position. And I think even Sunday's game, that was a loss, but that started with a penalty save that they scored on a rebound. So if you can imagine a goalkeeper making a penalty save in the first few minutes of the game, that's really hard to do. Penalty is one of the hardest things in sports to execute on, and he made that save, and but for our guys sleeping a bit on the rebound, he might have come out with another shutout.
So the game went into overtime, the one we were
Regis game, yeah.
Yes. So sophomore sensation Jamie Gutierrez would quickly end this game.
Yeah.
Walk us through the game. Walk us through the goal. How was that?
Well, I would say, I think I'd be fair to say Jaime wasn't at his best through long stretches of the game because we're trying to find ways to connect with him. And so he was not finding the success he wanted through long stretches of the game. But he's the kind of guy that can get hot right away. And so basically the goal happens off of kind of a misplay. Danny Bautista plays it back to Ignacio Salas in a way that put us in kind of a difficult situation. Nacho kicks the ball forward, and it lays right under Jaime's feet. He runs the ball in and scores on the goalie, who was a little bit out of position. So we took what was kind of a bad play and made it into a great play.
That's great. That's amazing. I bet.
Yes.
So, Coach, is that time of the show where we try to stump our head coaches with some Roadrunners trivia?
Oh boy, here we go.
We'll ask you a question about your men's soccer program. We accumulate the points throughout the season, and the coach with the most points wins a prize at the end of the calendar year. Now, Eric, our boss over there, he's going to try and ask you a little bit easier questions because you're new to the program, so we're trying to test you out, okay?
Okay.
You ready? All right. So here's the question. Senior Danny Bautista has 2 goals already. How many did he have last season?
I know he's had.
So, wait. I'll give you a multiple choice. How about that?
Well, I was going to say, I think this is his 5th career goal. So I think he's doubled his goals from last season. And I think last season he also scored within, I think, 5 or 10 minutes of each other. So we've been joking, saying, you know, well, Dan, if you don't score 2 goals within 10 minutes, you know, you're kind of dropping your productivity. So I don't know, how am I doing?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you a multiple choice.
Okay.
Okay. So here are the answers. It's A, 4. It's B, 1. Or is it C, 0?
Well, let's see. I guess I know he scored at least 2 last year, so it's got to be 4. No?
That's incorrect. No.
Okay.
It's actually B, 1 goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And someone gave me some misinformation.
He had it on a penalty kick against
Okay.
Dixie State.
Okay.
All right, Coach, so time for a bonus question. You can make up your points here. So we all know that Jamie Gutierrez led the team in goals last season, but can you tell us how many he had?
I cannot tell you how many he had. No.
It's between 5 and 10.
I'll say 7.
8.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
was good. That was
These are things that I look at every day, but I don't think I'm memorizing last year. I'm kind of a guy that lives in the moment. So.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, thank you for hanging out with us and taking a little bit of your time to stay here with us. We want to wish you the best of luck on upcoming games. So it's time for our break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back with another soccer player.
Enough. Yeah, I'm over it.
We shouldn't need commercials to tell you we're powerful.
No thanks.
Genders don't play sports. Athletes do.
I'm Kay van Heiningen, junior court for the men's basketball team.
So here's Stoudemeyer. That one is vehemently rejected by Kane Van Heiningen.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get ready.
So glad you're back with us. And before we talk with Alessandro, we want to tell you where you can buy Roadrunners gear. Visit shopmsudenver.com to get all your red and blue apparels. From t-shirts to polos to socks to hats to much more, shopmsudenver.com has everything you want or need to help you keep that Roadrunners logo all season long. So now we would like to introduce Alessandro. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course. Give me a second. So tell us, how's your season been? How's it going?
Pretty good. My personal season is going pretty good, and even the team is doing pretty well. We had a kind of a stop yesterday in the last game, but I don't think that will affect too much the season because I know we can do really good stuff. So I'm pretty satisfied.
That's good. That's good.
Awesome. Hey, how's it going, Sandy?
Good
to see you.
Good to see you.
What's your major? What are you studying?
My major is exercise science, and I have a minor too in Spanish.
Nice. And this is your senior year, correct? Yeah. So how does it feel to be a senior on this soccer team this season?
Like good, and weird, because good, because I can like not say talk more, but I can give advice to the new people and help the new players to fit in and find their way through the team and even through the school. Weird, because thinking about it, thinking that this is my last season, I'm not ready at all for it, and that this period like flew by, and I remember my first year here like yesterday, so I still can't believe that 4 years already passed.
Goes by quickly.
No, yeah.
So have you always loved soccer since a very young age, or did you pick it up later on in life?
Always. I started to play soccer when I was 5 back home in Italy, and I only played soccer for all my life. I always loved sport in general, but soccer was my sport.
Yeah, what position did you play back then?
First year when I was 5, kind of pretty much everywhere. But the year after, when I was 6, as soon as the coach told the team, like, we should find some position. Like, for example, there's someone who wants to be a goalkeeper. I was at 6-year-old, my hands up, I want to be the keeper. But like, even my parents were, hey, Ale, you sure about that? It's weird. But I was always sure to be the goalkeeper.
That's great.
So you're from Italy. How did you end up coming to school here in Denver?
I ended up in the U.S. at first because I wanted to keep playing soccer in a good level, and then like study in a good university. My freshman year, I was in South Carolina, and it was a great experience for me. But I felt that I needed a change, so I look around for another place, and the old coach of the soccer team called me. I look at the program, the university, and even the city, and I was like, that's the place for me. I want to be there because I know I will feel great there, and that's how it happened.
Awesome.
So Alessandro, I used to be keeper myself back in high school years. Any tips for me? You know, maybe I want to join later on next year or something. Anything you can tell me?
I don't know. For sure, you have to work hard. Be confident, because it's a position that requires a lot of confidence, even in the mistakes. And try your best.
Okay. So, do you have anyone you aspire to, someone you look up to?
I always looked, obviously, at the Italian keepers, pro Italian keepers. Buffon is one of them. Even if I'm not like a huge fan of him, I always look forward to him because I know he's one of the greatest of all time. And even I'm a fan of AC Milan, so I look forward also for AC Milan keepers and trying to learn from them and see what they were doing and how they were doing it.
Yeah, I know. So goalkeepers, it's a really hard position for myself. I can tell you from experience, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with that. So I don't think there's anyone for me that stands out this year or something or someone. I know Buffon has been a great keeper. I know Casillas.
Yeah.
Oh man, amazing
really
keeper. Unfortunately, did not deserve what he was. For soccer fans reference.
So
I agree with you.
So tell us a little bit about Coach Lewis. What have you seen from him so far this season?
At the beginning, it was obviously hard to like meet each other because a new coach in a team that knows each other pretty well. So we were trying to learn from him, and he was trying even to learn from us how we used to work and what kind of people we are. I like a lot how he's able to talk and relate with players. His communication with players, I find it like awesome. And I can tell you that it's not just me, but even like my teammates love that. And I think that will help us to do like good on the field because we can relate with him and he can relate with us like pretty well.
Sure. Yeah, team chemistry is definitely needed to execute in games. So.
And for me personally, the fact that he was a keeper and he's also a goalkeeper's coach, I think helps me a lot because it's the first time that I have a head coach that knows that well my position, and I think that is helping me and will help me a lot through the season.
Right.
Do you play FIFA?
A little bit. I'm not that good.
Not a big fan of it?
No, I'm a fan of it, but if I have to be honest, I never had a PlayStation or an Xbox, so I used to play FIFA every once in a while, maybe going to my friend's house. So I've never been really good at it.
Gotcha.
So you guys start up the conference play this weekend. What is Coach working with the squad to get ready for those games?
For sure, keep working on the stuff that we worked on in this past period and improving our way to play and our chemistry. And we're working a lot even on our discipline on the field and follow the style of play and trust the process. Absolutely. Thing that we struggled a little bit to do yesterday in our last game. So we're working a lot on stay on track and don't lose our part of the game.
Thanks for being here, Sandy. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me here.
Of course, thank you
very
much. We'll see what we have on stock right now.
Awesome.
So both of our soccer teams will be competing on the road this weekend. The women's team will first head to Santa Fe, New Mexico to take on New Mexico Highlands this Friday. Then it's back to Colorado to face off against the Thunderwolves of CSU Pueblo in Pueblo on Sunday. The men's team will first go toe-to-toe with Cougars from Colorado Christian on Friday, then hit the road west to St. George, Utah to battle Dixie State on Sunday to finish off the weekend.
After a tough tournament last weekend, the volleyball team will remain at home to kick off conference play. The Fort Lewis Skyhawks is first on the docket and is set to start at 7 p.m. at the Auraria Event Center. Then Adams State will come to town to tussle with Coach Glenn's squad on Saturday. That night we'll be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Night. And our women's golf team will continue their fall season in Goodyear, Arizona next Monday and Tuesday. So a big shout out to all of our teams as we wish them the best of luck this weekend.
And one last thing before we go, we want to announce a new feature that we are going to be rolling out every week from here on out, and that's naming our student athlete of the week. 4 players get nominated best on their performance from their past week, and the highest voter will earn this amazing honor. This week's winner is Adlin Grudel from the cross-country team, who came in first place in the Colorado College Invitational. She finished third 2 weeks ago, and now she's breaking the tape. Great job. So that will do it for for this week's Coach's Corner. We want to thank Coach Glenn, Coach Lewis, and player Alessandro for hanging out with us. For Coltin Lash, my boy, I'm Hector Cervantes, and we thank you. See you next time.